And our next story is about 18-year-old Trump Jr. He's leading a wealth drive. Barron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, seems to be following in his father's footsteps with plans to launch a luxury real estate business. At just 18, Barron set up Trump, Fulcher and Roxburgh Capital Inc. in Wyoming with two young partners in July. However, the company was dissolved 4 months later, coinciding with his father's electoral victory. The venture had listed Mar-a-Lago, Trump's primary residence in Palm Beach, Florida, as its main address. Now it's expected to relaunch this spring after a pause to avoid media scrutiny linked to the elections. According to reports, Cameron Roxburgh, one of the co-founders and a former classmate of Barron, has said that the company will eventually focus on high-end real estate projects, including golf courses and properties in states like Utah, Arizona and Idaho. Which brings us to the third founder, that's Carter Fulcher. He has ties to a significant real estate firm in Idaho. He is also a cousin of Congressman Russ Fulcher, who has said that he is not involved in the business. As far as help from his father goes, it seems that apart from receiving some private advice from President Trump regarding the business, Trump Jr.'s business has no financial support from the Trump Organization. Trump, remember, has built his brand around luxury properties. He's also passed down the family real estate legacy to his older children, Donald Jr. and Eric, who currently manage the Trump Organization. While there are no U.S. laws mandating presidents to divest from their business interests, the Trump Organization has announced that Donald Trump would refrain from managing his real estate company during his time as President of the United States. And experts say that Barron's business dealings could pose a challenge for his father only if the president invests or has a financial interest in them without disclosing such relationships. Until turning 18 last year, Barron Trump was shielded by a media blackout. A business student at New York University, Barron Trump was seen during the inauguration ceremony for his father in the Capitol Rotunda, where he greeted both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. At lunch, he was seen talking to Jeff Bezos, one of the wealthiest men in the world. Later, at the victory parade, Barron was also seen interacting with the crowd, leading some social media users to speculate about a possible political future for him as well. Now, Donald Trump's return has sparked frenzy across various markets. Space stocks are among the biggest beneficiaries, with companies like Redwire and Rocket Lab seeing massive gains. Trump's promise to send astronauts to Mars has boosted industry sentiment. Redwire's $1 billion acquisition of Edge Autonomy has driven its stock up by 51%. Viasat also surged 33% after securing a key NASA communications contract. Analysts point to three key factors behind the rally: the appointment of Jared Isaacman to head NASA, the anticipated influx of federal contracts, and heightened excitement around private space ventures post-Trump 2.0. With the administration backing innovation in space, this sector is poised to continue its upward climb. AI investments are also surging, with President Trump unveiling the $500 billion Stargate joint venture. Oracle, as I mentioned, OpenAI and SoftBank plan to deploy $100 billion immediately to establish cutting-edge data centers, aiming to keep the U.S. ahead in the global AI race.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas.
Major AI players, including Nvidia and Microsoft, saw major gains following the news. Energy demand is following suit. Clean energy provider Vistra's stock has quadrupled over the past year as AI-driven data centers seek sustainable power solutions. Experts predict a wave of AI-related investments, reinforcing tech dominance in the US market. Cryptocurrencies also rallied amid optimism around Trump's pro-crypto stance. Market sentiment was bolstered by promises of a clear regulatory framework and federal crypto adoption. The SEC's newly launched Crypto Task Force aims to ensure investors' protection and regulatory clarity. Analysts, though, warn of volatility and caution retail investors against rushing into the market, citing risks of poor timing and the fear of missing out. While the promise of a supportive policy environment excites the sector, experts urge restraint and informed decision-making in the face of crypto's unpredictable swings. As the family expands its reach in the tech and crypto markets, Barron Trump is stepping into his own business, as I mentioned earlier, a new luxury real estate venture. Barron plans to focus on high-end properties and golf courses in prime locations, you know that, Utah and Idaho, though independent of the Trump organization. Meanwhile, Melania's meme stocks and Trump's pro-crypto stance have sparked a retail trading frenzy, pushing Bitcoin to new heights. With just the second day in office, Donald Trump's second term is already showing glimpses of what's to come. We now turn our attention to the West Bank, where at least 10 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 40 injured by Israeli forces. During a major operation in the Jenin area of West Bank, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called this a large-scale and significant military operation. Under the campaign Operation Iron Wall, linking the latest offensive to Israel's wider battle against Iranian-backed groups in the region, including in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria and Yemen. Meanwhile, the pressure on Hamas to share power with Fatah in Gaza continues to grow, raising questions. Do Netanyahu and Hamas need the war to survive? But first, here's what has happened in the West Bank. According to reports, a large number of Israeli troops entered West Bank and its refugee camp in Jenin, backed by drones, helicopters and armored bulldozers. According to Kamal Abu Al-Rub, Jenin's governor, Israeli forces came out suddenly with helicopters in the sky and military vehicles everywhere, bulldozing all the roads leading to the Jenin camp. As the operation began, Palestinian forces reportedly withdrew from the refugee camp, and the sound of heavy gunfire could be heard across the camp. As per various reports, most of the casualties were civilians.
What they failed to achieve in Gaza, they are trying to make up for it here in Jenin. Not only in Jenin. Jenin is the title of resistance and fighting. If they finish the resistance in Jenin, they will finish it in all the West Bank.
An IDF official told the Times of Israel that Jenin operation is expected to last several days, which could potentially mean more violence in the West Bank. Israel's operations in West Bank comes just 4 days after the start of a ceasefire in Gaza. In a statement, Netanyahu said the operation in Jenin was an additional step in achieving the objective of quote-unquote bolstering security in the West Bank, adding that Israel is still active and acting against the Iranian axis in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen and the West Bank. Netanyahu's point of being still active perhaps only reiterates that he needs war to stay in power. Now, why are we saying this? Because there have been various reports, both in the past and recently, highlighting how Netanyahu is likely to lose power if an election is held in Israel. According to an Israeli survey conducted just last month, Netanyahu's rivals would win a Knesset majority if elections were held, with the margin further rising if a multi-party ran for elections, with former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett as its leader. But here's the catch: without peace, there can be no elections. And without elections, Netanyahu continues to remain in power. Meanwhile, Hamas is also in a similar predicament. Last month, Hamas and the Palestinian Authority's Fatah party announced that they'd agreed to create a committee to jointly administer post-war Gaza. While Gaza is currently under a ceasefire, there are reports of pressure growing on Hamas to share power with Fatah. Just last Friday, the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas said that the Fatah-controlled government body is ready to assume, and I'm quoting, full responsibility when the ceasefire begins. Hamas is yet to respond to Abbas's comments. Recent reports and comments from West Asia experts highlighted that only a minority of Palestinians support Hamas. So the questions that arise are, will Hamas share power with Abbas, even partially? Or like Netanyahu, will Hamas bank on the war to keep them in power? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, 4 people were stabbed and wounded by a man who was later shot dead. Police identified the attacker as a 28-year-old Moroccan national, Abdelaziz Qadi. According to an ID that was found on his body, the assailant was a US green card holder. The stabbing happened in a bustling nightlife spot of Israel's commercial capital. Police said a terrorist with a knife started stabbing people on the street, wounding 4 civilians. He was then shot by security forces at the scene. Qadi reportedly entered Israel on the 18th of January with a tourist visa. He was flagged by security when he arrived in the country, but was nonetheless granted entry. Israeli Interior Minister said that immigration officials had identified Qadi as a threat at Ben Gurion Airport and sought to bar him from entering. And he was handed over to security officials for questioning as well. But they decided to allow his entry into Israel. Now, the Shin Bet is investigating this decision.